Hello guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's me, Private Hire Mike, and I'm going to do a quick video for you guys this week, and it is explaining the differences between working in the day versus working in the night. Essentially, whether you should be a day driver or a night driver. Now, what do I mean by that? So, as a Uber driver, private hire driver, you have the choice pretty much of when you would like to work. And a lot of drivers will usually operate between two types of shifts. So you'll have the drivers that like to start super early in the morning from about 5-6 o'clock and work up to midday or maybe 3 in the afternoon. Some will even go all the way up to 5. Then you have drivers who start evening. So they could start, for example, at 7 or 8 o'clock, and they might decide to do a full 12-hour or 10-hour shift and finish at roughly around 5-6 a.m. in the morning. Now, both have their pros and cons, as you know, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So, generally speaking, as we know, working in the nighttime is generally more of a dangerous time to work, and there are certain reasons behind that. One of the first is reduced visibility, one of the most obvious ones, and that's because you're going to be working at times where there's no daylight. You might be working in areas where there's not much street light. Okay, so that's one thing to bear in mind. The second thing to bear in mind is when you're working at night, things are a lot more quieter. There is less people around, and sometimes you get weird characters at night who might just be wandering around. So it's very important to keep your doors locked at all time, and also have some form of dash cam or CCTV recording in your car when you're working nights. But one of the benefits though of working at night is definitely going to be less traffic on the road. I mean, as we all know, as Uber private hire drivers, traffic is one of our enemies, especially if you work for Uber, because Uber doesn't really pay much money when it comes to extra time. Most of their fares are fixed, and a lot of the times when you've got caught in traffic on a job, you've been in a traffic jam for an hour, and Uber's probably paid you an extra couple of quid. It's really not worth it. So that's one of the benefits of working in the nighttime. You kind of get rid of all of that traffic. Now, going into a negative point of working at nighttime is health. Generally speaking, human beings have a circadian rhythm, which means that they have an internal clock of when is the best time for them to sleep. And that is usually around between 11 and 2 a.m. in the morning. That's usually when the body starts to excrete certain hormones to get the body ready for sleep. Now, there are people who claim to be night owls, people who claim to be early birds, but this has been looked into by scientists. So you'll probably notice that if you've been doing a lot of night shifts, you'll generally just feel a lot less energetic. And like I said, that's because most human beings follow like this circadian rhythm, and it sort of goes, like I say, between 11 till 2 a.m. at night. And if you're doing night shifts, that can definitely take its toll on your health. Alongside that as well, working at night, it's probably less likely that you'll have requests than in the day. Now, if you're working at night on a Friday, Saturday, on the weekend, that could be different. But if you're working during the week, working at night, you're probably going to get either shift workers, people coming from the hospital or going to the hospital, or maybe people catching super early flights. So those are things to consider. Now, working in the daytime, what are the benefits? What are the pros and cons of that? Well, one of the pros of working in the day is that if you work from a super early time, say 5-6 in the morning, number one, there'll be less drivers out, because most drivers want to start on their clock, and for a lot of them it's going to be that they want to have a bit of a lay and maybe start at midday or maybe in the evening, right? So you'll find that there won't be as many drivers out on the road, and therefore if you're working for Uber, the prices will be a little bit higher, whilst the algorithm is kind of balancing itself out, because it's based on sort of supply and demand. If there's not that many drivers about but there's a lot of requests coming in, then Uber will tend to pay you a little bit more. Now, going into the pros and cons, guys, of doing that morning shift, shall we say, okay? And I've taken a couple of notes here just to kind of remind myself, okay? Now, when you get up early morning and you do the shift, you're going to probably get airport runs. That's when people are usually catching flights to go to a place for business, or maybe they're going for a vacation during the week, and they'll usually get a flight early in the morning. So you will probably get airport runs when you get up for the morning shift. The other thing is, it's going to be the commuting hours, so you know that you've got a steady flow of riders, because people at that time are going to work, going to school, they're moving. So you know at that time, between the hours of say 6 till 9 a.m, people are moving. It's going to be constant work. And between the hours of about 5 a.m. till 7, there's less traffic on the road. It's pretty quiet. And it's a safer environment as well, because the passengers that you're going to be picking up are going to be professionals, people going to work, families that need to take their children to school. You know, you don't have to be dealing with those more rowdier passengers that you would probably get working a night shift. Yeah, that's pretty much the benefits of working in the morning. Now, what are the cons of working in the morning, right? Early starts. So if you really want to maximize getting up early to do your Uber, your private hire shift, you're going to have to want to get up at about 4 or 5, be out on the roads by, let's say 5:30, and then work from that time till 9 o'clock, because first you're going to get your airports. You know, the traffic's going to be okay up to about 7:30, 8. That's when the traffic starts to come. And that's kind of when you're going to be kind of finishing your morning shift. So to really maximize it, you're going to want to be getting up at around 4 to 5. Again, a con in the morning is the traffic. In some areas, the traffic can be absolutely horrendous. And this usually starts when people are starting to take the children to school, or just after about 7:30, 8 o'clock, it really does start to build. And then it obviously tapers off after 9 a.m. And that usually happens in every single area within London and surrounding areas. And I'd say the last thing that's not so great about working in the morning is that your clients might not be as chirpy. And the reason for that is because they're usually going to work, which for a lot of people is not really a place that they want to go to. I mean, there are people out there who probably love their jobs, and shout out to those people. But for a lot of us, we're going to work. We don't necessarily want to be going to work. So yeah, there we have it, guys. Those are the pros and cons of working in the day and the nighttime as a driver. Let me know, guys, what you think in the comments. Which shift do you think is the best to work? Guys, drop me a like, and if you're not subscribed, consider doing so, and I'll see you in another video from myself, Private Hire Mike. Have a great day, guys.